The 5 seconds that could destroy Earth. 5 seconds. That's all it takes. 5 seconds without oxygen, and Earth would become a nightmare beyond imagination. Not 5 minutes. Not 5 hours. Just 5 seconds. In those few terrifying moments, airplanes would begin to fall, cities would erupt into chaos, and millions of people would instantly feel the world collapsing around them. But what exactly would happen? Would humans survive? Would the oceans disappear? Would the sky change color? And why would even concrete buildings start crumbling apart? Tonight, we are going to experience the most terrifying 5 seconds in Earth's history. This is not science fiction. This is real science. And by the end of this documentary, you may never look at oxygen the same way again. Oxygen is everywhere. You cannot see it. You cannot smell it. Yet every second of your life depends on it. The air around you contains about 21% oxygen. That invisible gas powers almost every living thing on Earth. Every breath you take sends oxygen into your bloodstream. Your brain consumes it. Your muscles burn it for energy. Your heart depends on it to keep beating. Without oxygen, the human body begins dying within minutes. But humans are only a tiny part of the story. Oxygen supports forests. It feeds ocean ecosystems. It allows engines to burn fuel. It helps airplanes fly. Even the ozone layer protecting Earth from deadly solar radiation is made from oxygen. In many ways, oxygen is the hidden foundation of civilization itself. And now imagine, every atom of breathable oxygen suddenly vanishes from Earth. Not permanently. Just for 5 seconds. What could possibly go wrong? The answer, almost everything. The moment oxygen disappears, the world changes instantly. There is no warning. No sound. No explosion. Just sudden chaos. Humans would immediately struggle to breathe. You would not explode. You would not instantly die. But your body would feel an intense emptiness inside your lungs. The oxygen already inside your blood would keep you alive briefly, but panic would spread everywhere. People would collapse in confusion. Athletes would lose strength instantly. Pilots would experience sudden oxygen deprivation. Drivers would lose concentration. And then, the sky itself would begin changing. Earth's blue sky exists because oxygen molecules help scatter sunlight. Without oxygen, the atmosphere would lose one of its greatest visual effects. The sky would rapidly darken. It would become deeper, stranger, almost alien. The sun would suddenly appear brighter and more dangerous. Because another disaster is now happening above Earth. The ozone layer is disappearing. Ozone is made from oxygen. Without oxygen, the protective shield blocking harmful ultraviolet radiation collapses instantly. For only 5 seconds, Earth would be directly exposed to dangerous solar radiation. Fortunately, 5 seconds is not enough to completely destroy life, but the effects would still be terrifying. Imagine standing outside, watching daylight slowly turn unnatural. The sky no longer feels familiar. Birds stop flying. Animals panic. People begin screaming in confusion as breathing becomes difficult. Across the planet, millions of cars continue moving. But many drivers are now dizzy and disoriented. Inside hospitals, emergency alarms begin activating. Pilots inside cockpits struggle to understand why warning systems are suddenly flashing red. And while humanity tries to understand the chaos below, another invisible disaster is already spreading through the atmosphere. The pressure of Earth itself is beginning to change. Something humanity has depended on for billions of years is vanishing in real time. And the next few seconds could become the deadliest moment in human history. Here is something most people never realize. Oxygen makes up nearly 21% of Earth's atmosphere. If it suddenly vanished, the planet's air pressure would instantly drop. And that change would strike Earth like a giant invisible shockwave. Every unprotected eardrum on Earth could rupture within seconds. Imagine millions of people suddenly collapsing in pain, covering their ears, unable to understand what is happening. Then comes the sound. Glass windows begin exploding across entire cities. Skyscrapers shake violently. Car windows shatter. Airplanes tremble in the sky. The world would sound like war. Now comes one of the deadliest consequences of all. Jet engines require oxygen for combustion. Without oxygen, combustion stops instantly. Thousands of aircraft around the world would lose engine power at the exact same moment. Passenger planes, military jets, cargo aircraft, helicopters, all suddenly powerless. Inside cockpits, emergency alarms scream continuously. Pilots desperately search for answers. Passengers feel sudden drops as aircraft begin losing stability in the air. Some planes may glide safely for a short time. But others flying through storms, mountains, or crowded airspace could face disaster immediately. And the chaos would not stop in the sky. Across highways around the world, drivers struggling to breathe begin losing focus. At 100 km per hour, even 1 second of confusion can kill. Massive chain collisions begin erupting everywhere. Brakes screech. Trucks overturn. Traffic tunnels become death traps. Meanwhile, factories and industrial plants suddenly lose combustion systems. Power stations begin shutting down. Oil refineries experience catastrophic failures. Entire cities flicker into darkness. And still, Earth has only survived a few seconds without oxygen. But the next disaster is even more terrifying. Because now, the oceans themselves are beginning to react. Breaking now, the disaster becomes even more horrifying. Water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. H2O. That means oxygen is not only in the air you breathe, it is inside every ocean, every river, every drop of rain on Earth. If atmospheric oxygen suddenly vanished, the chemical balance of the planet would become dangerously unstable. The oceans would not disappear instantly. But Earth itself would begin reacting in terrifying ways. Without stable atmospheric pressure, water begins boiling at much lower temperatures. Imagine standing beside a lake, and suddenly seeing the surface bubbling and steaming without heat. Rivers begin releasing mist into the air. Small ponds start evaporating rapidly. Moisture vanishes from the ground. For 5 terrifying seconds, the planet itself would feel chemically broken. And then comes another terrifying effect. Every fire on Earth goes out instantly. Candles die. Campfires vanish. Factory furnaces shut down. Explosions stop mid-burst. Even tiny sparks disappear into darkness. Without oxygen, fire cannot exist. At first, this might sound peaceful. But for civilization, it would be catastrophic. Power plants around the world begin failing. Industrial systems suddenly stop functioning. Fuel combustion engines die instantly. Emergency backup systems struggle to activate. Entire cities begin losing electricity. Hospitals switch into emergency mode. Communication systems weaken. And deep underground, subways and tunnels become trapped in darkness and panic. People everywhere are gasping for air. Parents hold their children tightly. Animals run in confusion. The entire world feels like it is collapsing at the same moment. But strangely, the most dangerous second has not happened yet. Because after 5 terrifying seconds, oxygen returns. And when it does, Earth experiences one final shock. Then suddenly, oxygen comes back. After 5 terrifying seconds, Earth takes a breath again. Air pressure slams back to normal across the planet. People gasp violently for air. Engines reignite. Machines restart. Fires may suddenly burst back to life. But the return of oxygen does not bring peace. It brings chaos. Across highways around the world, cars that lost control seconds earlier are already crashing into each other. Massive pileups spread across cities and bridges. Inside airplanes, terrified passengers scream as pilots fight desperately to stabilize powerless aircraft. Some planes recover. Others may already be too close to disaster. Factories damaged during the pressure drop begin exploding. Electrical systems overload. Power grids fail across entire regions. Hospitals flood with injured civilians. Emergency services become overwhelmed within minutes. And everywhere, people ask the same terrifying question. What just happened to Earth? Scientists around the world rush to understand the impossible event. Satellites record sudden atmospheric collapse. Observatories detect changes in Earth's protective ozone layer. Governments declare global emergencies. Communication networks struggle under worldwide panic. For humanity, those 5 seconds become the most studied event in history. Surprisingly, human civilization would probably survive. 5 seconds is short enough for most humans to avoid direct suffocation. But the secondary disasters would be catastrophic. Transportation accidents alone could kill millions. Global infrastructure damage could cost trillions of dollars. Entire economies might temporarily collapse. And psychologically, humanity would never fully recover. Because once people realize that life on Earth can nearly collapse in only 5 seconds, the world never feels safe again. Every breath suddenly feels precious. Every quiet moment feels fragile. And humanity finally understands something terrifying. Life on Earth survives because thousands of invisible systems work together perfectly every second. The atmosphere protects us. Plants continuously produce oxygen. Oceans recycle it. Nature silently keeps the planet alive. Yet most people never think about it. Because oxygen is invisible. But remove it for only 5 seconds, and civilization begins falling apart instantly. The terrifying truth is this: life on Earth is far more fragile than we imagine. And oxygen is one of the greatest miracles in the universe. So tonight, when you take your next breath, remember this. You are breathing something more valuable than gold, more important than technology, more essential than anything humanity has ever built. Because without it, our world survives only seconds. And sometimes, 5 seconds is enough to change Earth forever. 5 seconds. That's all it would take to change Earth forever. The air around you may feel invisible, but every breath is a miracle keeping humanity alive. And maybe the scariest part is this: most people never realize how fragile life truly is, until it's almost gone. But what do you think? Could humanity recover after 5 seconds without oxygen? Or would civilization collapse completely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more terrifying scientific mysteries and mind-blowing what-if scenarios, make sure to subscribe to Ayatullah Beyond *. Because beyond our world, the unknown is waiting.